Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Get Real with Mindset and Money. And today we're going to be talking about money. And I'm sure those of you out there, we're going to talk about raising money smart kids. How do we nurture that actual financial literacy? When should we start? What age? What kind of concepts should we do? Do we want them to be off in college, not able to balance a checkbook or figure out their spending or overspend? And Cheyenne from Inspiring Solutions for You is here to help us answer all those questions as we go back and forth looking at what the heck do we tell our kids? How do we get this financial literacy started?
Right. It's best to start them young because as they grow, the more examples and stuff you can share with them, the better off they'll be. Because who better to teach your kids than you? You know, most of the education programs don't even include any type of finance, even through college. And so the earlier you can get them started to start forming better habits, because you actually learn most of your habits before the age of 7. So you think of how are you leading your kids, and who do you want leading your kids before the age of 7, right? And so I keep that in mind. I started my kids early, and I still have a spender and I still have a saver. So they have the same lessons on the same day we open up their accounts. And as we talk about it, they're always around when we're having conversations. But it takes that repetition to start getting that spender to look a little differently on where he puts his money. He wants to buy certain tools for his business idea, but yet he wants to spend it a lot on games. And so I keep breaking it down. And actually, just the other day, he wanted to spend more money on games. Like, well, if you would stop spending on all these games, you probably could have bought your planer that he wants for his wood projects a long time ago. But he keeps like wanting to spend his money, and he's like, Mom, but I had the money. It's like, yeah, and you'd have a whole lot less if I didn't keep telling you no. But my youngest, he's my saver, and he'll hang on to that money, but he's also the one that likes the high quality. So kind of during our meeting, we talked about how it's healthy to teach them about when it's good to save for the higher quality item and when it's better to save the money and buy a lower quality. I use cereal as an example. Most often the generic cereals, they taste close, not always. And you find some good ones and not so good ones, but that might be a good place to start. Okay, maybe we can buy this big a bag of cereal if it's off brand. But if it's, a model car, for example, and you want the quality because they know they can do the art well, you might want to spend a little bit more to actually have the quality so it lasts for them. So it just kind of depends. That's kind of a goofy example, but finding those ways of when it's good to cut back on the expense and when it's just to have patience and save for a better quality. Because what I've learned through the years is things that I should have waited for the higher quality and I bought the cheaper one, I end up buying the higher quality one, and now I've spent the money more than twice because now I spent it on the cheap one and I went and ended up buying up the higher quality item. And so it's good to have those conversations. The other things that I do is grocery shopping. And especially ones that are getting close to getting their first job, or maybe they already have started with, you mentioned, Michelle, that your kids have sold popcorn, or if they have a lemonade stand, starting to realize how fast money goes really helps them start to think. So I started comparing, okay, if you're paying, I'll just use $10 for easy math and say, okay, if we buy $100 of groceries, they'd have to work 10 hours to pay for that $100 of groceries. If they're only most kids aren't even putting in 40 hours a week. It starts to train their brain going, oh, how many hours do I need to work to pay for that tank of gas? With that's where you start to train just the little habits as they grow. And you can even start by candy, and it doesn't have to be cash currency. It could be candy currency or, something else.
So can you give us a few concepts, say like for earlier ages, 5 to 7 or something, and a little bit like how can we, like some of the concepts we can start training along the way by ages?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things is showing them, you could do even a little test. They've done research studies called the marshmallow study or something like that, where they actually found that kids that were able to wait for that second marshmallow, they give them one marshmallow and they tell them if they wait 15 minutes, they get the second marshmallow. And some kids get pretty creative to avoid eating that marshmallow, and some just dig right in and say, I'm not waiting. but they actually found the kids that are able to wait or find ways to avoid the situation, to avoid eating that marshmallow, actually are more successful later in life as well, because they've learned to just put that on pause for the better return. So that's things that you can help teach your kids, is with the patience. Like I said, you could use other types of currency. Well, and that's really a good one. If you wait, now you get twice as much. Um, and even something as simple as pennies, start saving your coin. I know one of the things as a kid, we always had fun. We wrestled our way to my dad's car because he always put his change in the center console. And whoever got there or remembered to go clean out dad's change got it first, right? And start taking them to the bank and showing them, oh, all this change that we collected, it makes them more aware that, oh, don't throw the quarter on the ground, find them, look for them. And it starts helping them do that. Another way, and is when they're little, how many clothes can they really wear? So if you start filling up their closet with clothes, they're going to see that, oh, I always have to have my closet full of clothes. But if you start only buying them enough to get them through like a couple weeks, one, it cuts back on your laundry a lot, because they're not going to go changing 1,000 different clothes and all throw them on the floor because they're like, I don't want to wear that today. When they have less choices, it makes it actually easier. But it also saves on their bill when they outgrow them really fast. And they really, I don't know how many times when my kids were really little and people gave so many clothes, we ended up giving and donating clothes with the tag still on them. How ridiculous is that? And help them decide if they like something, help them make decisions, because in those decisions, even if they're not in monetary, something from what would you like on your sandwich today? What shirt do you want to wear? Helping them effectively make decisions actually helps them on the money side of it as well, because then they're not scared to make that decision for the bad consequence or something like that. If they're able to pick some of those, then it starts training their brain to go, oh, if I do this and I screw up, okay, I didn't like the taste of mustard on my sandwich. I know next time I don't want mustard on my sandwich. But
well, I love that you said that, because decision making can be so hard, and it's so easy as parents to then just say, okay, well, I don't feel like waiting for them to make an answer. I'm just going to pick for them. And right. I can even think of a time I had to sit in the hall with my son for 45 minutes because he couldn't make a decision. He kept thinking I was going to make it for him. And so I think that's like kind of a testament to the patience as well on our part, is that we really do need to make sure that they are starting to train that decision-making muscle, because otherwise they're going to be paralyzed. I mean, from my 3 kids, my son still is the oldest and still has the most trouble making a decision. And I can see on his face, he's like, even last night, he was like, I was really tired. And I said to him, if there's something you want to do with me, I will do it with you. But I'm not going to come up with ideas.
Right.
I was like, he's like, fine, I'm just going to go to bed because I can't make up my mind and I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, that is your choice. But I am not going to bail you out of this and give you an idea on what we can do. I even suggested go read a book. He's like, well, we read for 2 hours. My teacher said I didn't have to. So I think it's that process of forcing them to keep making those decisions. At times we even use he couldn't pick his middle school classes for next year. So I put them all into a bowl to pick them out, more so to get that reaction, like as he picked that one, is that something you want to do? And for some reason he was tormented about not taking band, even though he hates band and he has band performance tonight and doesn't even want to do band. But he didn't want to not say, I don't want to do band.
Right. Yeah. Because they feel that you're going to judge them because they choose to make a different decision, and it's giving them that freedom to have that choice. And, I made choices as younger. I was like, oh, I probably should have stuck with volleyball, for example. And I didn't, because I was natural at it. I should have, but I didn't. But it was a choice I live with. But it's helping them make those decisions, because my youngest struggles with that, and they'll go through different stages. Some stages they're super easy, can make decisions, but oftentimes as they get older, they're looking for you for that guidance because they don't want to do it wrong. So helping them have that comfort zone to know, kind of like something as simple as the mustard on the sandwich. Okay, oh, I don't like that. Okay, cool. You just don't put it on next time. They're like, oh, even the choices of behaviors. I've done that with my kids. Is like, I am not taking that attitude with me. But they have a choice to change it. All those simple things help teach them how to manage their money as well, because then they're learning how to make those decisions and realize that, oh, if I goof up, it's a mistake, you move on. and you do it a little different next time.
So I have a question for you, but before we say, I was going to say that the same thing with like nope, I lost train of thought. We'll move on and come back to it then. But when we were talking earlier, so this was a question I'm going to ask you, is you were talking about what as parents do from the time that they're young to how to save for them so they have a certain amount to start with. And you had a plan for that.
Yeah, I do. A lot of times I would recommend one is that you share gifts. We end up with totes of toys. Oops. Totes of toys for my kids. And so I started rotating them around. And then I started thinking, it's like, man, this is crazy. And so we actually started coordinating with the rest of our family on buying them one or two higher price, higher quality toys. Or one year they actually got a dumpster truck. We lived on some land. And so they got a dumpster truck full of sand. And so we all just contributed to the bigger purchase that actually would give them longer lasting enjoyment. And then start putting their, the extra money. So maybe you budget $100, but maybe together you just buy, a $50 gift, and the other 50 of each of you, so $100 goes into their savings account. And then what I recommend is, so in most places you can start a certificate of deposit with as little as $500. And if you start contributing to that so basically everything that you save up for 6 months for them, you put in their savings. And then when that certificate of deposit matures and you can add more money to it, then you roll in whatever's in the savings into that. But even if you start with just a savings account, not worrying about the CD, if you put in $30 per month, starting when they're a baby, when they're 18, they're going to have almost $6,500 if you don't touch it, which could be a really good start to, maybe they need to get a rental for college, or maybe at that point they want to invest it in a way to make more money. But even on a simple return of a CD with just say a low end of a 2% return, that could end up being closer to $7,800 over the term by putting that money away. So there's other ways to put that money. You think about it, $380 a year into that account. If everybody just kind of pitched in instead of buying all the stuff for all the gifts, and you just put the money away, how much better and how much more grateful they will be later. They might say, why didn't I get this? They'll thank you later, guaranteed.
Or they won't even remember.
Or they won't even remember. Like even clothes, like how many times are they going to remember the shirt with Ronald McDonald or Scooby-Doo or something on it? They're not going to. They don't even care. They don't care what gets messed on it. They just go, right?
Well, the other thing I've been liking to do for birthday presents as well is more experiences, because they do remember that. Yeah. And not just more clutter around the house just to be something that gets thrown into a corner and then something you got to get removed. And there's some things that they want, but like limiting it these days. And I'd rather throw a bigger birthday party or something that they're going to remember versus all the little toys and things that they're just going to throw away and break anyways.
Right. Yeah. Save for the memory. And another thing that I had read before is how this family would actually go together at Christmas, and they'd cut back on their expenses just so they could give a gift to another kid that didn't have that opportunity, or they had a charity that they chose to give their gifts to. And it helps them learn abundance and about giving to others with a bigger need too. So there's multiple ways to help them.
Well, it's actually, now that you say that, was actually my daughter's idea for her birthday, was the toys that she didn't want. She just wanted to give away brand new to someone else. And then inspired my other daughter to think of maybe we could start something on figuring out people's birthdays who might need it and maybe doing something ourselves. That idea just came up, but you reminded me of it. So I'm actually going to write that down again to actually see if it actually comes into fruition, but a birthday thing that maybe we could start organizing. Right. And doing something with that. But it was their idea. And I just, love their ideas.
Even if it's buying, maybe you guys buy a bag of dog food and take it to your local pet shelter or something like that. I mean, there's a multitude of ways out there to start feeding that desire to give, because then they see the abundance instead of the scarcity mindset as well. So all these little things really add up over time for their life, because like I said, they're learning things, most of their spending habits before the age of 7. So what are you training them? What are you battling with? Maybe you need to go the other way. Like, how can I help them not have these issues or habits? You can start them really young.
I love that. Why does my mind keep going blank today?
It's been a busy week.
Well, I've been wanting to tell you this because I forgot about it. But one of the things my 7-year-old actually asked for her birthday was a little what do you call it? It was so it's a savings thing, but it's an actual like little ATM machine like for her to keep track of her money because she just had like her money like in a like thing, and so she was really excited about like put little coins in and count them and keep track of them all. And so I thought that was kind of cute. It was something she actually asked for.
Yeah, it's a good way, start them little with the little bank account, and then how much more fun it is that take it to the bank and get it counted, and different things like that. And then as they get older, then starting teaching them the different ways to not spend all their money and to separate it into like that interest earning accounts and things like that automatically, so they don't see it in their account to spend, and they know that they're saving for their future and their future plans as well. But the more you talk about it and be more open to it, the more open they're going to be and more willing to learn they're going to be as well.
I love how you had explained earlier with the goals as well. So like having them set things that they want and actually making goals to reach and say, well, as you were saying, your son was saying, well, we have this goal, so now we're not going to do this activity or spend the money on this,
right?
Because we're going to save it for that. And so it's kind of working out those features. And again, the gratification and not having that instant gratification. I love the marshmallow video so if you guys just search the marshmallow test, you can see a little video and it just shows the kids like whether they could actually like wait the 15 minutes or those that, some of them ate it or were playing with it or whatever, but kind of shows you. And so the more we train that muscle to wait for that gratification, then the more successful they're going to be, because it takes time to start a business or to earn things that you want, instead of just saying, oh, well, it's so easy to get this brand new car, but it's not necessarily something I want. Or like you said, I'll go buy the cheaper one. That one breaks right away. And then you're still stuck buying the better one because you just want it then and there. I think was it the paintball gun or what?
Yeah, they wanted it was an airsoft gun. But really on his, it was, he came, wanting to know that he wanted to save for it. And actually he was going into like a power struggle over spending $20 on a game versus saving for a planer to help his business, because he wants to start his own business making cutting boards. And at first he was arguing with me, but it's just $20. It's just a game. I was like, yeah, but if I didn't tell you no on spending your money, now you'd have even less to spend towards the things you want to buy that will make you more money. And helping him understand. And once it started to click, he went, oh, and then he quit arguing with me over spending the money on the game, because I broke it into those couple different scenarios, and then he just stopped, because he realized that, yes, his goal is to buy the planer. And if he kept spending the $20, the $20, the $20, he would never save up enough for what he wants to do.
Well, I think that takes us to the point where we're going to wrap up for today. But if you want more money sense with Cheyenne, you want to work with her and figure out how to budget for your family, how to figure out all those aspects she's offering in terms of not only your personal things, how to work with your spouse, how to work with your kids, and really getting that money sense, I highly recommend it. So let us know how we can get a hold of you, Cheyenne.
Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I offer a discovery call to see what it looks like for you to get the help. And then we can go from there. But yeah, LinkedIn is the best way. On Facebook as well. I'd be happy to help.
Well, thank you so much, Cheyenne. Today it's always fun talking money with you, because it usually scares me to death, but you make it fun and easy. So I appreciate you. And on that note, just if anyone's interested, also this coming Sunday, if you go to the where is it located? Well, anyways, there's a women's circle coming up again this Sunday. We've talked about them before, and it's in the Workshop for Moms group on Eventbrite. If you just type in Workshop for Moms, you'll find it, a virtual women's circle. If you want to come join us and get some peace for your Sunday, and get your week off to the right place, come join us, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys. See you. Take care.